what is this ridiculous new intro and why wasn't I told about it?
It's awesome. It's like a sitcom.
We are pretty much a sitcom. We're all raging.
We should all be up there and just nod our heads back and forth while the song
Mike,
plays.
you and I.
I'm just sitting here like, what?
Mike, you and I know what that theme tune is from, but I was quite freaked out once, about 10 years ago, when it came on in a porno, when the Rumpy Pumpy was happening, and that really fucked my childhood memories up. Because
fucked up your rhythm.
Well, relive your childhood memories. Just go look at a cave painting.
That was Artie. That's the theme tune from a children's show that we used to watch when we were kids. And
your childhood memories.
They had TV when you were a kid, too.
Is that Mr. Peto's show?
Yeah, I was rocking out before you guys go down too south. I was rocking out. I was rocking out.
I was just sitting here confused. And the big fucking wiener everywhere.
I'm glad you used the term wiener, because still, perhaps you can explain why I may have used that particular intro this evening.
Because it's the 50th fucking episode, and we had to make it buck wild. Let's just go with that. Let's go with that. Let's not hear.
I don't know why you used it, actually.
Well, Signese gave us a clue with the word wiener.
I did?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's obviously something perverted about sausages, but I'm not. I mean, there's been a lot of sausage shenanigans, but I don't know which. What are we talking about here?
One of our MPs.
It's a baloney pony joke.
Was caught watching porn in the Commons.
Okay, so porn addiction is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't control it at work, you got a problem.
Don John, anyone?
So
I still don't understand why the Grange Hill theme tune was relevant, though, Mike.
The sausage.
Is it about sausages?
I don't get that.
But
are we just veering away from the hardcore fucking theme and just accepting the fact that we jumped the shark and turned into satirical comedy?
You could have done Pee-wee's Playhouse. That'd have been more suitable.
Fuck off, Artie. No.
We've yet to find out what kind of porn.
Wait, I don't have any alcohol. I wonder why.
Jeez.
Have you been
We've
watching
yet to find out what kind of porn it was.
The last 5 years?
I am curious.
I've literally been co-hosting the show.
Comedy, they're writing it for us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a good time to be a lazy comic.
Yeah. And we are the laziest of lazy comics. All I have to do is call Stool a name and everybody bursts out laughing.
You couldn't make this shit up. The comedy literally, the satire literally writes itself. It writes itself.
The Onion makes more sense than actual news.
So the real question is,
you can't write comedy. The Tories and Republicans keep beating us to it.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
So as the resident racist here, what was he watching? Was it guy on guy, girl on girl, all the above?
Well, okay, Will, asking the real questions.
Conservative pornography is probably people queuing up for their food.
I feel like conservative porn. I feel like conservative porn is archival footage. No, I feel like conservative porn is archival footage of a KKK march at this point.
No, they're probably like Mormons, and they do that whole soaking thing.
See, that's what I was. I was going to say. It's got to be like the Mormon porn where they have the magic underwear on, except they keep the magic underwear on.
Bubble porn.
Bubble porn.
You can't say that when I'm smoking it, Jay. You can't say that.
Well, have you heard how the Mormons get around the sex things?
Bubble porn.
Anal.
That's Catholics.
That soaking is okay, and soaking is where you insert it, but you don't
teach it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then some of them came up with the bright idea that if they're soaking and they have a friend jumping on the bed, they're not moving, so that's not a sin, but they still get the sensation.
Man, that is a Amish way of getting around some shit.
I mean, okay, so by that logic, I'm definitely a filthier little slut than I thought I was. God damn, these Mormons are fucking lowering the bar.
I can't get into it too much because of state laws, but people, at least at my job, if you were to get caught watching porn on your phone, you're gonna get fired.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that is the typical reaction to that.
And it happens a lot more than the average person thinks. I'm a complete horn dog, and I keep it off my phone during work hours. You know,
I've never watched porn.
Jesus, you haven't seen Airplane. You don't watch porn. What the fuck?
Is there a giant rock?
I get enough of this. I get enough of this from Matt. I don't need it from you.
It's like a cloud that usually hangs out over Eeyore is somehow blocking the signal to your house.
I just live under a rock. Leave me alone, you fucking bully.
Well, apparently it rains on that rock all the time.
But
I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
It's really moist down there. Is that what you were going to say?
No, it's not moist. It's wet. Matt, shut up.
Dripping. Soaking wet.
Sofa, you know I'm the king of obvious questions. Are there going to be any repercussions for watching porn on your phone?
Well,
pick me. I think I know the answer. No.
Probably not, because I mean, they were going to investigate.
Warning, if that.
Well, to be fair, if you're not touching yourself, it's not illegal to watch porn. It's distasteful and all that shit.
Is it even possible to watch porn without doing that? Like, yes. I wouldn't know. I've never watched porn, so I don't know.
I was the guy that would jump on the bed, man.
Oh my god!
Oh man, that sounds like an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Hey, Will.
It beats the hell out of sitting on the corner of the bed and jerking off.
Will, guess what? I've never seen How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
that one's a little more forgivable.
Yes,
only a little.
Because it was a pretty good fucking show.
The first couple seasons were amazing.
Yeah,
that was
first 4 or 5. Really, it was really good.
An amazing show, and I don't even watch TV like that anymore.
And I have never seen the episode where he met his mother.
It's the last.
The mother was like the last fucking season.
I've never
they
seen
phase her in over the last two seasons.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah, they slowly start phasing her in. She was a character
well,
that was.
I didn't see the last episode, so I didn't know if that's who the mother was or not.
It's a cool show. He arbitrarily meets her like 4 or 5 times before the last episode.
I never watched enough of it to find out who the mother was.
Anyways, the article says this: a male Tory MP has been accused of watching porn on his phone in the House of Commons chamber by female colleagues. Newspaper has been told a meeting of Tory MPs was convened on Tuesday night where female politicians, including Theresa May, grilled Chief Whip Chris Heaton-Harris on what was being done to counter sexual harassment in Westminster. Women who attended the meeting began listing off their own experiences of harassment or inappropriate behaviour in Parliament. One tearful politician said that they had been sitting next to a Tory MP who was viewing pornographic content while in the chamber.
Say his name. Who the fuck was it?
That's the thing. I don't think they're going to name this person.
Well, I'm not sure it was any of her business.
Just lends more credibility to my theory that there's not going to be any accountability.
Yeah, so if you're watching porn at work, though, you need to see a therapist about addiction issues.
Not saying anything about any of that. All I'm saying is that I don't see where. I mean, it's not against the law, so far as I know.
Listen, you devil's advocate.
And if somebody else is looking at the shit on your phone, that's their problem, not yours.
I don't know about against the law, but it does fall under sexual harassment in the workplace.
Yes. And it's frowned upon.
Okay, so at my job, when you first start, we have to watch the elderly abuse video and the new age cell phone abuse video. So there is a video out there of at certain jobs, mine, you have to get a DOJ background check and all this crazy stuff. So you can't necessarily watch porn on the job. But when you sign up for the job, you sign up saying, I will not be on Facebook all day, which the average person is anyways. I could care less,
Me
But
working overnight, I don't have to worry about that shit.
But my whole point is there's a certain etiquette to it,
Yeah,
I would never say
even with
porn and
if you
etiquette.
didn't have any information in your code of conduct, you could still fire that person just because they were wasting time on the clock. You wouldn't necessarily have to have anybody report that they felt harassed or felt uncomfortable in the workplace because of it, because they're just kind of almost literally fucking off at work.
Exactly. And it's kind of like COVID where you have the right to do whatever you want to yourself, but you don't have the right to harm others. And unfortunately, like there are, hey, I am a desensitized pirate. I could care less what anyone does, but there are people who care.
Well, what did you call yourself when you DM'd me the other day, though? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, I am the king of generation man boy. The generation of man baby.
What did you call yourself? An over emotional man baby?
King.
But you're not though. Like that's the thing. I didn't see that as like you're not an over emotional man baby. Like I was honestly out of left field when you DM'd me that day. I was like, but I always talk shit to you. What changed?
No, but we had a moment where we handled it like adults, and actually should be highlighted, and it should be highlighted. There was an issue. It was handled, and people moved on. And
that's it.
There were no hate videos.
Well, I'm so goddamn tired to make hate videos anyway. And even if I wasn't, like, I don't have a problem with you, and I didn't know you had a problem with me. So it's just like, okay, we're adults. We're gonna talk about it. I didn't mean to offend you, and it's done and it's over. But you know what is offending me? You know what is offending me? Duel out here looking like a fucking banana in that hoodie.
He's a banana. He's a banana. He's a banana.
I want to show two videos in relation to this story.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I've also never seen bananas in pajamas.
Okay, this is Stuhl's Dr. Peel impersonation.
Who is Dr. Peel?
In the comments chamber. Yeah, this is quite a shocking story, and it emerged in a conversation between female MPs last night. And I've had it corroborated by an MP that was in that meeting. And apparently at that meeting, a female minister said that an MP was watching pornography next to her. So the supposition is it's a front bench, but that hasn't been explicitly said. And a colleague in the room immediately corroborated that. I was also told that this female minister, apparently also said that the culprit had been doing this in committees, so in committee meetings, that this had also happened. So this, in terms of her evidence, wasn't the first occasion. And I've also been told that the women, that the two MPs have subsequently spoken to the Chief Whip, Chris Heaton-Harris, and Chris Heaton-Harris has made a statement, if I can find it. He has said, so I'm just trying to find it, the Chief Whip is looking into this matter. This behaviour is wholly unacceptable. So apparently the MPs have named this person to the Chief Whip, and they're now looking into it. The Prime Minister has said in the Commons just then that sexual harassment is grounds for dismissal. Let's see.
Name and shame. God damn.
And this is where it gets interesting.
At this meeting last night, there were some pretty harrowing stories of sexism, misogyny directed at women MPs. And then the allegation by not just one, but two or three Conservative women MPs that a male Tory MP had been watching porn on his mobile phone in the Commons chamber a couple of times, and also in a Commons committee. Now, at the time, the government responded by saying the Chief Whip is looking into this matter. This behaviour is wholly unacceptable and action will be taken. But
yeah,
in
okay.
the last half hour or so, it's been a major U-turn because the government is now saying that following in allegations of inappropriate behaviour in the Commons, the Chief Whip has asked them for the matter to be referred to that body, the Independent Complaints and Grievance System. And the government is saying upon the conclusion of any investigation by that body, the Chief Whip will take appropriate action. This climb down is likely to dismay those women who've made the allegations. They will regard the Chief Whip, Chris Heaton-Harris, of kicking it into the long grass, farming it off to another body to hold an investigation, and no doubt prolonging the whole thing. And many MPs will regard this body as a toothless organisation and suggest that the government is not taking this seriously enough.
John, thank you.
Okay, so sometimes it's okay to bring out your big chopper, but not in the House of
Oh
Commons.
my God.
How many double entendres were in the last minute and a half of that?
Good grief. I couldn't take it.
It really got to be a lot.
You know why? It's because
That's
they
what
can
she said.
No, it's because they can say it with a straight face.
Oh, I can say it with a straight face.
I'm a bit of a giggler. I would be like, "You're all idiots," and then tell the story and giggle as I'm telling the story.
Somebody on Twitter today said, if I'm only attracted to David Bowie, what is my sexuality? And my response was necrophilia.
Oh my God.
And I only had one person like the fucking joke.
Okay, well, I'll go find it. You know what, Artie?
Go on Twitter.
Are you in need of some validation? Do you need some validation that your joke was funny?
No, I know the joke was funny. I about spit out my eyeball. I laughed so hard when I wrote it.
Laughing so hard at your own joke. Damn, Artie.
I laughed at my own joke.
You need some validation that's not X-sex with your small chopper.
No, again, I don't need validation. I know the joke was funny.
Then why are you bitching about the fact that only one person
I'm
likes
not
tweets?
bitching. I'm just surprised that there was only one person, and it's a friend of mine.
I thought he's bitching that no one on Twitter has a sense of humor anymore.
You know what, Matt? Shut up.
But the thing is,
That's not a sense of humor for fucking dead people, anyway.
Listen, I appreciate a good fucked up joke.
And I'm not sure necrophilia is a sexuality. It just would have fucked up the joke to try harder.
It would be more of a preference. It would
It's
be more
a
of
kink.
preference.
It's not a
Yeah,
sexuality
it might be
in itself.
necrophiliac.
but the thing
This is a dead. Well, that's a dead serious problem.
Yeah,
oh
killing
dear.
me.
But the thing
rotten
about
to
Y'all, that
core.
was funny.
the thing about this story is that this guy is watching porn in the Commons chamber. You know, when this business happening in the Commons chamber is the cameras are rolling, right?
They should be.
Yeah.
You know, it's always live,
Yeah, there's always cameras.
and so he's taking a big risk there. Surely.
Well, hopefully he always had the sense to keep the sound off.
He was clearly emboldened by the fact that nobody had said anything for any of the previous times, and even this was.
Do we even know how many previous
months after
there
the fact,
were?
apparently.
I hope it's Jacob Rees-Mogg, so he gets shamed out of office, and he gets go back. He can go cry to his nanny in Somerset.
Well, and it is
Danny and
kind of
Somerset, oh my God.
it
I
is
do not
kind of
like it.
adjacent to being an exhibitionist that some people's kink is the whole thing of will they get caught?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The thing
Thrill
is, though, the person who did it was a front bencher. So, they're like really important. They're a proper government minister, and they're literally sat on the front bench.
That was
Oh, yeah,
that was my
behind
first
him
question:
looking
is
over his
who is
shoulder.
this person that they have done this?
So not only are they
reversal?
very important, but they're literally sat on the very front bench with all the cameras on them. So
it has to be someone very important, because otherwise they wouldn't be kicking
Seriously,
the can down
let's
the
start
road.
a fucking betting pool on who it was.
Well,
like,
I think
I'm
it's-
totally here for it.
I think it's unlikely that the person wears glasses. Otherwise, somebody would have noticed before. Somebody from the other side. Somebody from the other side surely would have noticed.
Let's go get some fucking sets of that Guess Who game from when we were all kids, and replace all the faces with Tory MPs, and just all right, we'll fucking live stream it. Let's do it.
I say sack a lot of them and just start over.
To be fair,
Although
though,
I do like the Guess Who game idea. I think we should do that and replace them all with the members of Congress.
That too.
Just because it's
let's
from...
let's do it into a two-parter over the next couple of weeks. This would be hilarious. I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it.
Just because it's front bencher doesn't mean it's a name that we might necessarily be familiar with, because most of it we don't actually
research. You fucking blight on humanity.
Most of it we don't actually watch. It is on 24/7 pretty much, but a lot of the people who sit on that front bench won't be household names. So, I mean, it could be one of the famous ones, but I think it's more likely to be one of the ones that we don't pay much attention to.
It's the same in the U.S. You know, very few people in the U.S. know who the representatives in Congress are.
Yeah, especially the House.
I know.
Well, there's like how we have PMQs, Prime Minister Questions, on Wednesday at 12 noon. There's the other thing where all the ministers of each department who will be front benchers have to sit there and they'll be asked questions about what their department is up to. Now, nobody watches that shit, so it's probably that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like the committee hearings here.
All right,
we have
so we're gonna
C-SPAN 2
go on a deep dive, figure out who the fuck this is.
I
imagine if we were the ones to expose who it was.
Yeah, but like I grew up watching C-SPAN. That's how I knew who Chris Hitchens was before he became, the person that we think of now. Did you just say who for Chris Hitchens?
Yes.
That's like a 6-hour live stream.
Yeah. But
he was a troubled person. He was a troubled person.
My money is on someone important and that is why they're kicking the can down the road on this one.
Yeah, that's my thought. Is that it's kind of almost obviously after the fact, after they realized who it was, like, well, wait a minute, maybe we don't want to do that.
Honestly, though, the fact that they're going so far out of their way to quash whose identity it is, referring it to everybody and their mom, like there's no way it's not someone at least somewhat prominent.
It's like the time in this town we used to have a big mafia influence because we're so close to Chicago, and over the years that kind of waned. There's still quite a bit of it, but not like it used to was. And we had a cocaine problem in town, and the old money in town, at the country club said, we will pay for an investigation and find out who was responsible for all this cocaine coming to our city. And they never published the results.
Can I just say really quick? I hope it's Savage Javid, my twin brother, because I can't stand that guy. So I hope they get rid of him. Well, even though he's hot and he looks good, but they need to get rid of him. He looks just like me.
How could he not? He looks just like you, except he's got a huge head of hair. He looks like a Cuban.
No, Savage Javid is bald, got the eyebrows and everything. Sorry, Purple.
It has to be one of the people in the government who, has enough inside information to threaten that, if you take me down, you're going down with me.
I'll go, but I'm taking you along.
No. Pay to watch it all burn.
There's only room for one of us on this door.
If we're taking bets, I still maintain that it's a lesser known one. And whoever it is, they're not going to name them anyway, but they're not going to go any further on this because we've got elections in a few weeks' time, local elections. So they're just not
kind of like over here. We wouldn't appoint a new Supreme Court justice in 2016, but we did it with no problem in 2020. That's none of my business.
Yeah, the members of the party have to protect whoever it is, just so he doesn't, get the party some bad press.
Blow their shit up.
You said members.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this going to be the dick joke? Is this going to be the dick joke special?
Yeah, can we go back to the last minute and a half of the guy talking, because that shit got out of control.
All right, Will, get out the big shiny chopper. It's dick joke hour.
Well, one of the greatest Doctor Who jokes ever is when
I've never seen Doctor Who.
Is when Mr. Pond told his father he can't call his journal Brian's log. And he's like, why? He's like, just don't call it your log. Greatest Doctor.
But when people think logs, they don't think of dicks. They think of shit.
Right.
So now, every time I hear Captain's log now, I kind of giggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're all not very mature. We pretend we are.
And every time I hear somebody use log like that, I have the song from when I was a kid going, the joke that was, if the log rolls over, we're all gonna die. Do you know that joke?
No.
No.
What the fuck are you on about this time?
God, I was in like third grade, man. This is 45 years ago. It's a story
Good job
about
dating yourself.
Kid can't sleep, and he thinks he's hearing voices, and he hears, if the log rolls over, we're all gonna die, and it's being chanted. And as he walks through the house, it's getting louder and louder, and finally he comes to the bathroom. He throws the door open, and that's where the sound is coming from. It's, if the log rolls over, we're all gonna die. And he goes to the corner of the bathroom where the toilet is. He opens the lid, and there's a bunch of ants on a piece of shit.
Ew! Of course you've heard that joke, Matt. You've heard everything I haven't fucking heard. I swear to God.
Oh, but anyway, 3 cabinet ministers reportedly facing allegations of sexual misconduct.
Surprise! Surprise! Surprise!
And the ministers are among 56 MPs said to be accused of sexual misconduct after being
okay. So I did read that number
parliamentary-
correctly. I did read that number correctly when I was putting shit in the Google Doc this morning while I was at work.
Yeah.
That's what they're paying me to do. Update the fucking Google Doc every Wednesday night. That's when I do it. I just sit at the fucking computer, do all my work, get the copy done, whatever, test the fucking pool, and then I look at the Google Doc and I fucking just type in prominent names from the Republican Party. Like, all right, let me do my part for this here show because I was slacking and I need to get back on track with that.
But this just goes to show that there is a culture of sexual misconduct we could
shorten that words. Rape culture.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could put it that way if you want to. Yeah.
I mean, it's accurate, is it not?
I'm not entirely comfortable with the use of that designation, kind of anywhere, but
it's such an overarching term now.
But I don't know of anybody that's okay with rape. So the idea of rape culture,
I do. I was married to someone who was.
Well, I did say I didn't know of anybody that was okay with it.
Well,
I think the problem
as a woman, I come across people who say that they're not, but then they open their mouth and start talking more, and it's like, no.
Yeah, we use these terms in really nebulous ways.
Yeah,
I think
that's kind of why I object to it, because it doesn't make any.
Honestly, now that I think about it, that term is becoming a lot more overarching than it needs.
I'm not fucking mad at you for using it. It's just not the word I would prefer, or phrase.
Well, no, but I'm understanding your point. I'm agreeing with you. It's a rare moment in On the Sofa history.
Yes.
I blame
and
Purple.
I've only insulted Stool like 3 times.
Why are you blaming Purple?
No, we blame Stool here.
That's the kind of person I am.
We do not blame Purple. We blame Stool. Stool exists to be a scapegoat. You leave Purple alone.
Why? I wasn't even in that conversation.
I know, but I think blaming you started on movie night.
Purple. Stop bullying Purple.
Every bad thing that happened, I would just say Purple did it. It's usually because you were away from the fucking.
No.
Oh yeah, Purple walks away for 2 seconds and it all goes to shit.
Yep.
You can only blame me for the bad puns. That's the
right.
only thing I'm responsible for.
All this shit is Purple's fault because you didn't stop it.
Well, it's okay, Purple. Over here, the bad puns are my responsibility. You can take a break, take a load off, go sit in your recliner, get a cat. Whichever one is running around this time. How many cats do you have now?
Well, I have 2 cats, but one of them lives upstairs with Sloth Girl.
Oh, okay.
It's still more my cat than hers, but...
Yeah, that's nowhere near the crazy cat lady status.
Honestly, I'm convinced. I would love to be a crazy cat lady.
Everybody needs goals.
Are you having like 1 million cats?
Oh, you don't even know. I lived in a house with 7 cats, 2 iguanas, and yeah.
Dude, if I had my druthers, I'd have a puppy mill just because I love puppies so much.
I just want ferrets. I just want ferrets. Like I love ferrets.
I can smell that decision already. I hate ferrets. I'm sorry.
Yeah, ferrets are pretty. Ferrets are fairly common in LA, at least in my experience.
So Sofa.
Yeah.
What else is falling apart in your country?
Oh.
Well, we're not done talking about this one. I just want to read a bit of this article because it's quite pertinent, I think. This comes just over a week after Imran Ahmad Khan, the disgraced former Conservative MP, resigned after he was convicted of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy in 2008, triggering a by-election in his Yorkshire seat of Wakefield. Tory MP David Warburton also had the whip suspended earlier this month after a series of allegations relating to sexual harassment and cocaine use. I think we were talking about him a couple of weeks ago, if you remember.
Oh, yeah, we were.
He denies the allegation and has insisted he has enormous amounts of defense, despite the fact that he was photographed with lines of cocaine.
So what, he wears magnums?
See, but this is what I was talking about back then of the death of language. The man was pictured with cocaine. He looks people in the eyes and says, no, I wasn't.
Holy gaslighting, Batman.
His defense was, it's not cocaine, it's dandruff.
Yeah, okay. Because people typically cut their dandruff into lines. I do remember this discussion.
Is he a homeless man from the 1920s or what?
No,
it doesn't make sense.
Was he in the movie Breakfast Club?
I love that movie. I have seen Breakfast Club. It's one of my favorites.
But he said, I have a severe dandruff problem.
Yeah,
and
okay.
And I have an odd habit of piling it up on my.
It looks exactly like lines of coke. Okay.
It's like keeping a 10 of the skin that you peel off when you sunburn.
I grew up like I grew up really hardcore middle class, and I had a dandruff problem for a while too, and I went and got help. Go get help.
Shake your head.
Dandruff. No, the fact that
dandruff shampoo.
No, but the fact that people believe that bullshit in any way, shape, or form is kind of shocking.
Yeah.
It's not really that shocking, though. Will, if you think about it, what do I always say? What age do I always say we're living in? The platinum age of stupid. So it's really not that shocking. Stupid is the new average.
If you
have people to believe that shit. Look at QAnon. Look at QAnon. Look at the followers of Alex Jones. Look at Republicans.
What's that, Purple?
If you have dandruff, don't get help. Get a sponsorship from Head and Shoulders.
Yes, thank you.
Or just stop your coke habit, you cokehead.
Okay. And speaking of Head and Shoulders, you know, and who else is disappointed they never came out with a body wash named Knees and Toes?
Me, that would have been fucking hilarious.
Oh, dear.
The ultimate opportunity for a bad pun that actually would have made some money.
Should have gone crotch, knees, and toes, because...
Why do you have to bring crotch into it?
Well, that's the next most likely place to have dandruff.
Okay, today on things I didn't know and could have gone the rest of my life never knowing.
Well, for people who have eczema...
Are you waving an imaginary knife, or am I just, like, seeing
if
shit?
eczema is the cause of your dandruff, your crotch is the second most likely place for you to have that.
Okay. I didn't need that information.
Hey,
how many Chomo MPs do you have in your country?
I don't think the answer to that is widely known, because chances are, you know, I mean, we've got some Chomos in Congress. Look at Matt Gay. Yes,
I'm not saying that we're immune at all.
Oh God, no.
Not at all.
But talking of Imran Ahmad Khan, it's transpired that he was on a panel advising on grooming gangs.
That could be okay. If you had a panel for arsonists, you'd want an arsonist on the panel.
The question I have here, in the court case of what he did, like molesting the boy, was his forehead a co-defendant? Because my God.
Separate person.
Was his forehead a co-defendant? Like, I need to know this. Like,
he looks like that the alien in Star Wars that is, like, had a human chin but the cheek thing kind of came down. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I know. I feel like I would know it if I saw a picture. I have a vague mental image of what you're talking about.
Or the one that played the big clarinet looking thing in the band.
That's what I'm thinking of in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, in the cantina. Yeah.
So how did no one know that him being on this panel would be in poor taste at best?
Okay, but is good taste really a trend with that party?
I want you to think about the kind of person that you kind of assume Mike Pence is out of public.
Mike Pence and okay, but what about the Fly?
But all of this is reminding me of the 90s, when John Major was the prime minister. Towards the end of his time as prime minister, there were quite a lot of sex scandals, and it all came to a head when David Mellor, Tory MP David Mellor, it was found out that he had was having an affair with a prostitute, and he used to like having sex with her whilst wearing a Chelsea football strip.
Oh my!
Did you remember that stall?
I do, yeah. Have you seen him recently?
Yes, I have. Unfortunately,
he's weird. He's got even more
look
weird.
Good in that jersey.
Oh my god!
I know.
What movie was that? There was an American movie where there was a scene like that.
Burger King. What was that? That was the Burger King connection. It was the King of something King.
Whatever it is, I don't think I've seen it.
Probably not.
So again, another obvious question: is anything going to happen to this man for being a chomo?
No.
Not if they don't release the name publicly. No.
Well, if he
they have released his name, Imran Ahmad Khan. He's actually been.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're in a really weird place at the moment. Weirder than usual because we've got local elections in less than, whenever it is, a few weeks' time. Which means that people, quite rightly and legally, are not allowed to discuss certain things. You're not allowed to talk about certain matters on the TV or the radio or whatever.
Oh, Christ.
But it also means that the police who are investigating certain other things at the moment are not releasing the names of other Conservative MPs who have been fined for breaking lockdown rules.
Yeah.
They've said more fines have been issued, and we know Johnson has been fined once so far, but the latest round of fines that have been issued, they won't release any names. The reason being, we've got elections coming up, and, get this, naming the people might affect the outcome of the elections.
Imagine that. Why wouldn't we want to impact the outcome of the elections? If
what planet is it okay to be a chomo and still be a representative of your local area?
Under what system of law is somebody found guilty of chomoing? And they don't go to fucking jail.
Is that new verb now?
No, chomo it's California terms for people.
You know what it means.
And it's taking the words and chopping them up. And like where I'm from, if you call someone a chomo, that is one of the worst insults you could call a human being. We just call them
pedos here in New Jersey.
Okay, but pedo, like in America, a pedo would not be walking around in public. Like he wouldn't be able to legally live in my neighborhood. He wouldn't
even make it out of fucking county to face fucking trial, depending on where you are.
Nobody gets convicted of that and doesn't go to jail.
The reason I bring that up is because, like Artie said, we have a system in place where if you're a convicted child molester, you can no longer be around certain people in society. I live near an elementary school. Let me tell you, I'm checking Megan's Law all the time to see if someone moved in near my.
Oh, and it's like 1,000 feet in California too, isn't it?
No, it's you can't live within 4 miles.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would think the unit of measure would be miles.
How the fuck do you get 4 miles away from a school in LA?
They've slowly started pushing. They don't want child molesters to live anywhere.
Well, I know, but you can't. That's not an option.
And where I live in my neighborhood, there's we have a dense population here, so there's just 2 miles from my house. There's probably 6 or 7 elementary schools. So people on that list are not allowed to live here. So my whole point of rambling, oh, dude, I have a disabled kid. Let me tell you, that guy would not be able to live in my neighborhood. Me and my right-wing buddies, we would go find him and go to his front door and be like, I don't care if you're an MP or not, you can't live around here.
Yeah,
that's my whole
your
point.
life just got way more complicated.
Kindly to your folk around here.
No, but that's my
I'm about to give you a legal reason to break your lease.
And I live around cops. Like, they get everyone hyped up. They're like, they're trying to move a chomo around here. We literally go and stand in front of their house. Like, no, you can't live here.
Yeah.
So how is that guy able to walk around?
There's a reason that when Mike Tyson was convicted for his original sexual assault on a minor, that he did his time in juvenile detention facility, because there's no way he would have gotten out of Indiana State Prison alive with that.
No, not at all. But why would you know what? I have questions. I don't want the answers.
No, but I know it's uncomfortable to people in the UK, but in America, we still beat up people like that.
Yeah.
Do more than beat people up, depending on where you are. I've heard shit about how they go to jail.
Jeffrey Dahmer was killed because he was a pedo, not because he killed and ate people.
Well,
it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with him. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Honestly, I think the guy who did it should have been fucking rewarded for it.
But like,
time off.
Like the job I do, I work. We house mentally disabled adults.
The guy that killed Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people. You'd be surprised how many people apply for that job and have harmed people in their past. You know. So. I don't know how that guy's walking around.
You know, I killed him.
Why did he kill him, Matt? Let's hear this.
Because he found him fucking weird.
I mean, wouldn't anybody find a chomo weird?
Well, whatever. I don't know. The guy said that he was fucking weird, and he was looking at him all funny, and he didn't like.
Okay. So Kate Smurthwaite made a video about this morning, and it's all making sense now.
Basic Instinct. What's Basic Instinct?
Oh God. You haven't seen Basic Instinct?
What the hell is Basic Instinct? I've never seen it.
Jesus.
Yeah. I refuse to believe you haven't seen Basic Instinct. There's a scene in Basic Instinct where Sharon Stone crosses her legs.
You know what, Matt? You know what? She's been dating nothing but potheads and watch pothead movies. Like, I haven't even seen a lot of the pothead movies. You know, I've never seen Cheech and Chong.
Which one?
Any of them.
No, this morning I watch a YouTuber named Kate Smurthwaite, and she goes in on these people, and she has these different characters, and every single MP did the Basic Instinct thing. I thought it was funny, but I really didn't get the reference, and now I do.
Tories accuse Angela Rayner of Basic Instinct ploy to distract Boris. MPs claim Labour deputy leader likes to put PM off his stride by crossing and uncrossing her legs at PMQs. This was in the Mail on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fucking fuck.
I mean, what kind of story is this?
Well, it's a bullshit story.
I don't know. Why are we even covering this? This is weird. This is tame compared to what we normally do.
They do this to distract from the sinking ship.
It's being covered because this is a huge story over here. It is absolutely massive because this has backfired on the Mail, as in the newspaper. I use the term newspaper very lightly because
I would just call it a rag.
It's obviously bullshit, and they're in a lot of trouble for it because it's obviously bullshit, you know. But this is the depths that rag stoops to just print pro.
They just want to put something out. They don't care what, but they're going to put out something.
What's happening?
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say really quick, your country is turning into ours, where they say these horrendous things, and they make all these allegations that aren't true in any way, shape, or form. I actually liked her. I don't see her as somebody that would do something like that. I don't know her in any way, shape, or form, you know. But
she's the deputy leader of the Labour Party. So basically, when Keir Starmer isn't speaking, she will take his place. She's doing the stuff, standing up and speaking and what have you. When he is there, she's sat next to him. And so they say she's doing this basic instinct thing, which is complete fucking nonsense. But they've also been having a
she's
go
like
at
trying to low-key seduce she's low-key trying to seduce Boris? Is that what this is about?
Yeah.
This is why I consider it kind of a lie.
If it came from the fucking Daily Mail, it's probably a lie.
No, listen, if I was Boris, they'd be like, why is the Prime Minister wearing sunglasses? I would walk in wearing sunglasses and I would send her a big thank you note on Christmas. I'd send her a big Christmas card every year. Thank you.
Okay, Will the Degenerate.
If you think about it, this is more about Boris Johnson than it does Angela Rayner.
Of course it does.
Oh, there it goes. Do a shot.
They're basically admitting that the Prime Minister. They're basically admitting that the Prime Minister's a lecherous cunt.
Yeah, and he can't concentrate if a lady crosses her legs. I mean,
crosses and uncrosses.
Well done, Daily Mail. I mean, that makes Johnson look good.
Prime news right there.
So this is a news story that's backfired.
Yeah, really.
And the writer of this article, Glenn Owen, it looks like he may get his press pass revoked because of this.
I mean,
I'd kick him out for that.
It's so stupid. It's stupid.
Does anybody want to tell Artie he's been muted for quite a while, or should we just carry on not telling him?
Carry on. I like the fact. No, you know what?
I had all those pithy
Put my muscle relaxers down, please. Okay, fine. You need it for your back. Take it. I don't care. Because everybody here knows I have health problems. Everybody knows I have back problems. I was literally, Mike, was I not on the fucking show from my hospital bed last year? This time last year, I was in the hospital.
Yeah. But,
when I cheated death. It's right here.
I had a live stream after I got out of the hospital too.
This is nothing more than a distraction story, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
but they're fine.
Ridiculous fucking bullshit story.
This is what the Daily Mail does though all the time. They if you're not familiar with it, they just
why are we even using them? Like I was looking for shit to put in the Google Doc, and I purposely avoided the Daily Mail because it's all bullshit.
You would usually ignore the Daily Mail, but as I said, this one is a really big deal. I mean, it's massive.
So at this point, we're not even discussing the story. We're discussing the fact that it was even out there to begin with.
Well, the National Enquirer got some shit right, so I get it. Nobody considers the National Enquirer actual newspaper, but they exposed some shit over the years.
The National Enquirer is what you need to fucking put something on your car floor so that you can fucking
that they went bankrupt considering how many millions of copies of that rag they sold every month.
We're heading into local elections, so they're gonna, while they can, they're gonna throw every piece of made up shit that they can.
Yes.
Until they're not allowed to legally. And the other thing that they were saying about her, Rayner, in this same story was they brought up the fact that she left school at 15 or 16, pregnant, with no qualifications. Well,
I left school at 16 with no qualifications.
As if that's a bad thing. She's now the deputy leader of the fucking Labour Party.
Yeah, why aren't you the deputy leader of the Labour Party then?
Why am I? Because first of all, I'm in the United States. Second of all, I'm happy in the hospitality industry. I got plenty of buck wild stories. Y'all know about it. Did I tell you I told y'all the car thief story, right?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I did this.
But we're going to come on to the real story. I haven't got this queued up, but I've only got notes because this is just happened today, and two very important laws have gone through today.
3, I think, actually. Might be 3.
Well, the 2 I specifically want to talk about. The Police Crime Courts and Sentencing Bill has gone into law, and that means basically that we have no more right to protest in this country. We have to ask the permission from the police if we want to protest now. And
gee, imagine what they'll say.
Well, yeah, it's kind of been that way in the United States, that you have, depending on.
You have to have a permit.
Size of your demonstration.
I'll tell you though, not necessarily.
Because depending on the size of your demonstration.
I've seen some fairly right-wing and extreme left-wing organizations get permits, and the cops protect them. That's the whole point of America.
Because that's where the liability lies.
Yeah.
So we had Trumpers come through my town, and they had a truck rally, and the cops spent more money protecting them that they almost taxed, the organization.
Right.
Because your neighborhood is so threatening.
No, because people came from all over LA to huck rocks at the trucks, so the cops had to protect. The Trumpers. Like it's
an episode of Top Gear.
But also,
that's so sad.
The elections bill has been passed as well.
Okay.
Which means that voters will have to show photo ID if they want to vote in this country.
Sounds very Republican up in here. Who else is having war flashbacks?
So I have a dumb question to my American friends. Do you guys not show ID when you vote?
I don't have to.
Really?
New Jersey is very progressive like that. I do not have to show ID. I just have to match up my signature to the signature they have on file for me.
How long has California had voter ID?
A long time. The only reason I don't show my ID is because the people in my neighborhood are the ones at the polling station. They're like, "Oh, we know your entire family," But
in Indiana, each political party sends an equal number of volunteers to each it's so fucking contrived and stupid.
I don't know how the party division would work in terms of poll workers. I know my mom.
Right now it works so that there's only 2 of them. That's part of the problem.
But the thing is, it's going to disenfranchise about 2 million people from voting because it costs £75.50 to renew your passport online, and £85 by post. And
okay, I'm done with fire now.
And so the poor and working class are going to be disenfranchised.
Imagine that oligarchy.
Yeah, that's been the same issue in the U.S. with the voter ID laws.
Yeah,
is because especially the people on the very low end of the working poor, a lot of them don't have photo IDs because they can't afford it, or they can't get to the government offices while it's open to get it done.
Yeah, in Indiana, the same year that they passed the voter ID law, closed about 50% of the state license branches.
Yeah, and the thing is, guess who that demographic are not going to vote for?
People of color.
Well, they're not going to vote at all. It's kind of the point.
Yeah, but
exactly. The point is to suppress the vote.
If they could vote, they're not going to vote. They're more likely to vote Labour.
Exactly. They were more likely to do that in the first place.
To do some,
which is why they were a target.
To do some sums here, if let's say you need to renew or get a passport over here. Now, if your driving license is still valid or you have one, then it's not too difficult, apart from paying for the passport and all the rigmarole. If you haven't got a passport or a driving license, then your first thing you're going to have to do is go to the place in town, the machine that takes your photos. So you're going to be paying £5.50 in bus fare to get there. Then you're going to be paying £5.50 for the photographs. So that's £10 already. Now, bear in mind, you're poor.
To have your picture took. That's fucking
you're poor. You haven't got any money, and then because this is going to be your only official form of ID because you haven't got a driving license, whatever. You then have to get an official person to sign the back of your photographs. So you have to take those photos to a doctor or a teacher or whatever. Now, who the fuck has the time or money to do all this?
We have notaries here.
Really, again, I have a really stupid question. Do you not have just plain old ID cards in America?
Like driver's license and non-driver ID, right?
Yeah, you can get just a regular identification card if you're over 18.
It kind of doesn't make sense for them to have those just because it's an island nation, and if anybody's going to travel any place, they're going to leave the country anyway.
In theory,
just having passports.
In theory, it's not a bad thing that everybody should have an ID card. Most places in Europe do. It's no big deal. They're issued free, whatever, no big deal. But in the UK, we're fucking idiots, and we've been told for years that having an ID means the Germans have won. Yes, it always goes. It always goes back to the fucking war.
No, well, to be fair, that is the shit that's happening here. That the police are acting like if they're having contact with you, that they need to identify you, and that's not the fucking law, but that's the way the police act. So
I've had to show. That's actually how Josh ended up in jail. He had to show ID, and I got pulled over for something that had nothing to do with him.
And he was in the car, and he showed ID.
Yeah.
I'm sure his attorney was thrilled with that fucking decision.
What attorney, bitch? We were poor.
Well, you have a public defender. That's what they're for.
In theory,
I told him, I was like, I'm not paying your bail. You're gonna plead guilty to all your shit because I knew what the warrant was for.
So you do not have identification cards.
We have nothing. No, we have no form of official national identification.
How do you know if somebody's been like? How do you? It's just odd to an American, like.
Really.
I have an Alexa, remember. So
and in American culture, getting your license, which is considered one of the most, commonplace forms of ID, it's a rite of passage here.
Yeah,
so you're getting your first
but
government sanctioned identification.
You live in New York or
old.
Yeah, but the question,
the boroughs.
The question you have to ask is,
in the U.S., people drive everywhere. In
but
UK
why,
and parts of Europe, that's it's not as common for everyone to have a car.
In what circumstances do you will? I'm addressing you and your chopper. You're racist. Under which circumstances do you expect that I would have to show ID in this country?
Anytime.
When you're getting a hotel with your favorite woman of the night.
Why would you show ID for that? That is bizarre.
In my country, you have to do
that. As a hotel employee, if you don't have ID, I kick you the fuck out.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. You see,
any kind of
had to bring up hotel. God damn it, Will.
I obsessively smoke joints. Okay. When I go to anywhere that's not my local cigarette shop, I have to show identification.
Right. Well, you see, we live in a civilized country, and so we don't have to show ID for every damned occasion. We just don't do that. Now,
you have to show ID to drink when you're 14 or whatever it is.
Dear fuck, don't be stupid. You don't show ID for anything. If you're in a shop,
show ID.
No, they don't. They don't.
No, you don't show ID for anything in this country.
Wait a minute. Okay, so that brings me to a question then. Okay, so in the UK, you guys have a legal drinking age, right?
Uh-huh.
How the fuck do you verify that somebody's old enough?
Okay, well, I was about to explain
this. Does
this.
he look old enough?
If you're in a shop and the goods you are buying say cigarettes or alcohol, you have to be over 18. If you don't,
okay, but how do they verify that you are?
He was about to say that.
I'm just trying to get there. So if you don't look old enough, then the person selling you can ask for ID. Now, if that's happening to you often, you can get yourself a little ID card. It's not a national thing. It's just you wave it in a shop. It says, "Hey, I don't look my age, but look, I am." That kind of thing. But most people, you walk into a shop, you buy the shit. They don't ask you how old you are because they can see you've got a beard and pubes and stuff. They don't need to do that.
The United States is litigious, and if that kid gets in a car and kill somebody, then it needs to be the fault of somebody other than that drunk kid. So they hold the person that sold him the beer responsible.
Yeah, the fucking
like
when I went to Amsterdam, responsible when somebody's got DUI.
Basically, it's because insurance companies want to spread out the amount of money that is paid to as many people as possible. If they're going to have to pay, they're going to sue everybody that's tangentially related so that they don't have to pay as much. Which is the beauty of having insurance in the first place.
Insurance. Their primary goal is to not pay shit.
The interesting thing about this current thing with our ID coming in, as I said, the British people have been taught that ID is bad because Hitler. And the last time we tried to introduce a national ID thing, it was under a Labour government, and the Conservatives traditionally are very against any form of ID.
Yes,
they hate it.
So they basically capitalize it, and that's how the takeover started.
I'll say, as an American,
that is one of the platforms that David Cameron stood on. He said, "If we get in, we'll scrap the ID, the ID."
Yeah.
But now, the Tories want to bring back the idea of giving us ID cards.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is not news or new because it was in their manifesto in 2019. They said they were going to do this, so it's not a secret.
You just said it's not news or new. Like news is a bunch of new.
I'll tell you, it's not just in the UK.
I always heard news was an acronym. I forget what, but
it's in other countries too, where you can
the collective name for a new is a news. That's a fact.
You can walk. I went to Amsterdam. I was 19 years old, and I rarely got carded.
Send news.
But I had American written on my forehead. I was wearing a Dodger hat. I had Nikes on. They were like, "Here, you have money."
I got carded for cigarettes in Florida. I was 37 years old.
I still get carded, and I say thank you.
Look at me, though.
I get carded.
I know I don't look 52, but I've looked like this for a long fucking time.
I get carded if I've never been somewhere before, and then once I become a regular, they don't bother.
Oh, Indiana law is you have to ID.
Exactly.
A lot of stores.
You can't buy anything without showing ID.
Again, in the U.S., people get offended over the stupidest things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were getting offended over being carded when they were like 25. So a lot of companies made it corporate policy now to ID anyone who looks under 40.
And for us here, here we have this magical land called Wawa that none of you will ever experience because you all suck, except for Will. Well, sometimes Will sucks, but everybody sucks sometimes. At Wawa, I think the age you have to look 27 if you look under 27.
Ah.
No, I've actually seen stores that have it posted. We card anyone under 40.
Here too.
And because of that, it goes on. Some people then get offended if they don't get carded. So the cashiers just make a habit of carding everyone, even if you look like you're 75.
Yeah, my dad.
Getting old. They say getting old is going from being afraid that you're going to get carded to grateful when you are.
Yeah, my dad got carded on his 75th birthday, and we had already taken his driver's license away from him, and he didn't have an ID.
Oh fuck!
And they were legit not going to serve my dad a fucking beer on his 75th fucking birthday.
Man.
And trust me, my dad looked all of 75.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't had a beer in a year.
Sorry.
I'm done.
We that's why your question, Stool, was strange to the Americans, because we show ID for everything. I've been to your country. They let me walk around and do whatever I want.
Dude, we have to show ID because of fucking meth heads. We have to show ID to buy fucking Sudafed.
Europe is like that too. Dude, where I live, they now have face wash behind a case. And I asked the stupid question, why the F are they locking up?
They have baby formula behind cases in some places.
Well, people steal that. There's a reason why.
You mostly can't buy Sudafed at all in Indiana.
Well, so
anyway,
you can buy Sudafed, but you have to go to the pharmacy counter. In New Jersey, you have to show ID because they want to make sure that you're not cooking meth.
So the government acted unlawfully when it sent patients to care homes without coronavirus testing.
Yes,
because that's a good idea, and that's what you should do.
The case was brought forward by Dr. Kathy Gardner and Faye Harris, whose fathers, Michael Gibson and Donald Harris, died after testing positive for COVID.
Oh boy.
The government acted unlawfully by discharging untested hospital patients into care homes during the early stages of COVID-19 pandemic. The High Court has ruled.
Yeah, my sister works at a
fuck.
long-term care home, and during 2021, COVID swept through there, and they lost 10% of their residents in like 8 months.
That's a fairly low number for when it happened in Indiana. It didn't happen very often, but it was closer to 50% when it did.
Fucking Indiana.
But then
land.
We got tired of trying to be Mississippi, at least.
So our government is guilty of. Can we say that our government is guilty of manslaughter?
We can.
I'd say so.
Or negligent homicide.
Yeah,
There's another way of putting
like
it.
the reckless disregard of the public good.
Yeah.
No, they're saying that for a reason.
Disregard.
No, there's a reason why Sofa said that is because it's going to be illegal pretty soon, or as of today, to speak against air government.
Just let me do.
Thousands of people died because of this.
Yeah, let me do the context thing here, because I remember back in the day when the COVIDs came here, and it was the official. It was the official policy. This
Where the COVID struck.
back in the COVID years, and all these old people were getting sick, and they would be taken to hospital, and it was government policy then. The government said to the hospitals, right, get them out of the hospitals and put them into care homes. Just any care homes, just put them in care homes. And that's what they did. Don't test them, just put them into care homes. And I remember it very well, because this is how we realised back in 2020, some reporter said, hang on, there's a hell of a lot of fucking people in care homes dying.
Yeah, that sounds way more German than some other shit that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it is a bit.
Yeah.
And so I think the figure is about 20,000 old people died.
That's the fucking equivalent of the U.S. military giving, what was it, smallpox blankets to...
Yep. Yeah, the U.S. cavalry giving smallpox blankets to natives.
It's the exact same fucking thing, man. It's like, here, or
I keep forgetting smallpox existed. Maybe because vaccines work and it was eradicated.
Here.
Yeah, it didn't exist by the time you were born.
Yeah.
Okay, god damn it. I don't need to feel that young.
Polio was a
brings us back to Wet Mancock, Mike, because...
Yeah. Wet Mancock, what?
When Wet Mancock was health secretary, he was in charge of all these decisions. He's the guy for the Americans. He's the guy who was eventually sacked because there was CCTV released of him canoodling with
Winecock, is that common spelling?
It's Matt Hancock, which is just as dirty. Just as dirty.
I think Hancock better.
Capital D in Hancock?
I couldn't sit in the same room with the guy. Like, I would at least call him hand job a couple of times, you know.
But
well, let's think about it. I mean, us Americans, we have the sense of humor of 12-year-old boys where dicks are concerned. So
that's pretty on par with Americans. Yeah,
I'm
so,
at least a 24-year-old.
At the time when this was all going on, Wet Mancock, on several occasions, both on live TV, giving the daily briefings, and in the House of Commons, he said that we have put a protective ring around care homes. Don't giggle at ring, please. And he said it several times, protective ring. You know, we're looking after these people.
Like a diaphragm.
I'll give you
after a while, it turns out that all the old folk are dying. And he on live TV, he says, I never said protective ring. Fucking liar. And I keep tweeting this thing because I've got this thing with some clips where he says it, protective ring, but he denied it.
I'm telling you, what's happening to you right now is because the United States reacted the way it did to Trump, and who lied all the motherfucking time. And
Yeah.
40% of us knew it.
You guys are like our
20%
alternate.
thought so, and everybody else believed every fucking word that came out of his mouth. And you're paying the price for that thing because
honestly,
you have the same fucking numbers we do.
Are our alternate reality.
Fucking sick.
You guys are the alternate reality that we would have right now if the 2020 election had turned out differently.
Well,
and Matt Hancock's ring sounds like a Christmas gift. That sounds like something that I would put on my wish list for Christmas.
It's not the kind of gift I want.
That sounds like something they would sell in a sex shop.
I am so sick
old man size
of being gaslit by this government. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it.
It's
your TikToks have definitely communicated that message, Mike.
Yeah.
The thing that pissed me off most about the Trump presidency was that it was an insult to my intellect.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of it. I honestly did not partake in one press conference. I didn't. I started watching UK news. Now, coincidentally, I watch news from India and Zimbabwe and Nigeria because I no longer watch your news because it's just as depressing as ours.
Yeah.
So your coping mechanism is getting lost in other countries' problems. Okay, note to self. Okay.
Yeah, what's the inflation rate in Zimbabwe right now?
You want real life problems? Just open my front door and get in your car and drive anywhere south.
Have you ever seen a $17 million Zimbabwean bill? Because I have.
The Trump presidency and the Congress we have now as a result of it is because half of this country doesn't get that there's a difference between politics and reality TV.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it's the same fucking shit.
Hi,
that's how Trump got elected. Oh, no.
I've noticed he always stops doing that when someone acknowledges him.
Well, I don't have the headphones in today, so he can actually hear you.
Oh. I thought the little pain in the ass.
Well, why not acknowledge the boy? He deserves it. Hi.
No, I completely and utterly just ignore it. Hey, do me a favor, bro, because we're gonna go to the grocery store, man.
We're being lied to now constantly, are we not, Mike? And it's got so ridiculous that
you guys have a slightly more intelligent and therefore more psychopathic version of Trump in power there.
This is part of the hoo-ha at the moment because you're not allowed to stand. You're not allowed to stand in the House of Commons and tell lies. You're not allowed to fucking do it. Yet Johnson does it constantly, every fucking time. He just lies and lies and lies. He's been told to stop lying, but he keeps doing it. And this
I don't even think he knows he's doing it anymore. I think
he knows he's doing
pathological.
it. He knows damn well he's doing it.
Johnson watched Trump every minute and took notes.
Yeah.
You know what? I could believe that.
I would be willing to bet that
Johnson is Trump without the spray tan.
I'd be willing to bet that Boris is legitimately jealous that nobody has made a balloon of him yet.
He's also doing
petition to start Boris Baby. I need to see Boris Baby. Although Boris Baby wouldn't really be accurate because at the end of the day, Boris isn't throwing temper tantrums on social media. I'll give him that. He's capable of behaving like an adult in that respect.
Boris is also doing what George Bush would do, is just tell you what he's going to do.
Right.
He's like, look, this is what we're going to do. You're all just going to do it regardless. You can argue about it, but I'm going to do it, And that's bully politics. So
one of the disgusting things about Johnson, he does this thing that we call duper's delight. And when you're watching duper's delight, when you're watching him answer a question on the TV being interviewed, he'll tell a lie. And he knows he's lying. He knows that the interviewer knows he's lying, but he's getting a kick out of telling lies because he can get away with it. And you can see the little cheeky bastard. So he has a
kick for lying?
Yeah. You can see the cheeky. Yeah.
Okay, I think now it's okay to kink shame.
No, he has a kick.
You can see the cheeky little grin he does when he's doing it. He's done it all his life.
Yeah, it's a power kick.
Yeah, that's what it is.
If he can lie and nobody calls him out on it, that shows how much power he's got.
And he's fucking Superman.
And I need to fucking lay the fuck down.
On a really low level power trip thing, we have this giant water tower at the very top of the property, and I don't know why, but my dad would always put no smoking signs. Don't go up there because he knew I would go up there and smoke pot. when I became boss, I made it legal to take smoke breaks up there.
Love that for you.
Wow.
I took the sign down. I
Wait,
was
fucking
like,
Rosa Parks. How about it, ladies and
No,
gentlemen?
dude, my whole point is, but it was me. Like, no, like it's a power
Oh,
trip.
here's
Like I'm
another
in
name that
charge.
could be made into a drinking game.
Have a good night, Greg Hartwork. I'm like, I'm in charge. We're bringing the degenerates are in charge.
Oh,
now.
Greg is leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg, no, we haven't even gotten to the fun part.
Bye bye, Greggy Poos.
Hi, Greg.
Bye bye, Greggy Poos.
Okay.
Hey, incidentally,
Well,
if you want to join,
I never thought it would be possible for me to want to slap you any more than I already do, Stool.
Just a little bit nauseous. Just all right.
So what Johnson is doing a Trump in that he's playing to that certain crowd. He's playing to his base by just repeating the same old bullshit over and over and over again.
In America, we call those the Baptists.
I thought we called them the evangelicals.
Yeah.
So he's been told several times to stop repeating a certain lie in the House of Commons. He's been told that this is not true, stop saying it, and yet he keeps on saying it. And the most disgusting one, Mike, as you remember, was the Jimmy Savile thing. I mean, he stands up in the House of Commons and repeats a far-right meme and accuses the leader of the Labour Party of purposely not prosecuting Jimmy fucking Savile. What the fuck?
Yes.
That's how low we've gone.
Are you guys familiar with what was it, the Central Park 5?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident with the number of guys that were involved, but there was a white woman that was gang raped and murdered in Central Park, and these guys were all arrested and convicted. And at the time of the incident, and for the entirety of the trial, which is kind of a weird position for him to be in, because at the time, this is 80s or late 70s, he's a New York playboy. He's living off of dad's money, doing nothing but losing money hand over fist in his own endeavors, but he's clubbing, and somehow he feels like he needs to be involved in this fucking case. And as he's campaigning, those guys are being released from prison because DNA exonerated all of them, and Trump continued to insist that these guys were guilty.
Yeah.
And then people wanted to say he's not a fucking racist.
Yeah. I remember reading that,
Yeah, he to this day, he doesn't believe that they didn't do it, even though DNA demonstrates that none of them were there. Fuck him, and it's not. Fuck. No, you're right. He's
Any
not a racist.
whore. So this bitch and her refugee pushback policy. What's going on here?
Yes. This is Priti Patel's refugee pushback policy has been officially withdrawn by the government days before a judicial review of the tactic was due to be heard in the High Court. I think this was the plan, to force people in dinghies back to France, basically. And
this isn't the Rwanda one.
This is
that was my question. It's
connected to that, but it's basically they were going to try and get they're trying to get people to. Was it the Navy? They're trying to get the Navy to push these dinghies, back across the channel to France.
Pushing's a great idea.
It would be more towing, because if they pushed them, it would capsize the boat.
Yeah, really. like when you push a canoe from the side,
tip it over. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I laughed when he said that.
Hey, you can laugh at that, but if you remember back a couple of months or whatever, Mike, Priti Patel said, "Hey, we're going to now change the law," which she can't do because it's international law. But hey, she's like that. We're going to change the law, so if any of our Navy or Coast Guard people accidentally drown any refugees, they can't be prosecuted for it.
How do you accidentally drown anything?
Also on par for her.
I remember that.
Unless you accidentally drop your dog into a I don't know, 10-meter deep.
By accidentally drown, what we mean here is if they nudge the little dinghy or should the people in the dinghy just happen to fall out,
intervene, and we happen to do a mostly voluntary manslaughter situation.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're in the sea, if you're in the sea and the person in the boat next to you falls in, you've got to rescue them. If you don't, you kind of breaking international law. You can't just fuck off and leave people to drown.
Good Samaritan.
But Priti Patel, the racist bitch that she is, like Johnson, has to appeal to the dregs of society and get them all excited. Hey, we're going to drown some immigrants.
According to the Geneva Convention, if you sink an enemy ship, you are still expected to pull the survivors out of the water.
Exactly.
Absolutely. My pops used to always say in the Navy, you would fight the ship, and then after you sunk the ship, they would literally turn around and pick up all the survivors, everybody.
Yeah.
And they would stay there for days picking up people.
It's part of why the guys that died after the USS Indianapolis was sunk was a big deal. It wasn't just that they all died from shark attack as they're floating as a human raft in the sea with nobody coming. It was that they were sunk by a German sub and nobody came to save anybody.
That was the Japanese, wasn't it?
I thought it was a U-boat, but you may be right. That might be even more why it was inappropriate.
I know the story. It was I know what you're talking about.
It was Pacific.
Yeah, it was a Japanese.
So that would be even more appropriate that it was a siren call to arms, that you were on a ship with immediate access to air and not sharks, and you did nothing to save the people that.
So we do have these people do have this weird thing that we have in UK land. Well, in England land, really. It's not the UK. It's mostly English. That we're better than everybody else. So we think we should be allowed to drown migrants and refugees. We think that we can just say, hey, France, you take them, and France are going to say, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, really. That's not how this works, bitch.
No, it's very much we got out of the EU. EU over there.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll just put EU there. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you really couldn't make a clearer statement that they consider refugees to be less human than their own citizens.
Yeah.
Okay, but I say this all the time. America, we do the same thing in America. It's just we don't advertise what we do.
Yeah, we do a lot of it. Not that, but we do a lot of it.
On the border, we allow warlords and gangs to thrive because it stops a lot of people coming to this country.
We literally put kids in cages for 4 years.
I was watching Perjury Taylor Green talking about
that's another one we gotta talk about.
I was watching her talking about your invasion, bunny ears.
Our insurrection.
No, your invasion, because you're still being invaded, of course, at the borders.
Oh, and, that.
She's still lying her ass off about that. Stupid cat.
I don't even think she would know the truth if it bit her in the ass.
Yeah, but to the unindoctrinated, you would think that our borders are open and unprotected.
It's not like that.
No, but we have walls and fences and people with M16s and AR-15s protecting our border, aka the Border Patrol with night vision and the fanciest stuff on earth. We are not like
this is the phrase that really winds me up. And Racist Will, you'll remember that I like to listen to Hal Sparks, and he goes on about this because the term open borders, which our lot have started using now, they'll say, oh, open borders, blah, blah, blah. There's no politician, show me the politician who wants a policy of open borders, who's ever said open borders. It's not a thing.
No,
we're surrounded by a big fucking ocean. That's not an open border.
The problem is that your hardliners have adopted our right wing way of thinking. So they're spouting out the same Fox
They have,
News BS.
that is one of the things that really, really winds me up. They've adopted the same bullshit that your idiots use, and they're even using the same terminology. So when I started to hear British or English people use the term illegals, but what the fuck? When did we start using that word?
Yeah.
We don't do that one.
Yeah, really.
It's a little racy.
Yeah.
They do on GB News.
It's very Will. It's very Will to call them that.
Will Smith?
No.
It's a mess.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
My fucking wife's name out of your fucking mouth.
Honestly, I'm convinced fucking Jada Pinkett Smith is a fucking. She is an example of toxic. They talk about toxic masculinity. But can we please have a discussion about toxic femininity?
Yeah, can we just call these people asshole and not try to ascribe a gender to the fucking thing?
I mean, there's that too. You know what? Asshole is a pretty gender neutral. Actually, no. Asshole, I've noticed, is predominantly used in a more masculine sense. My personal favorite is fucking cunt bag.
Thunder cunt is one of my favorites. I do like thunder cunt.
Thunder cunt is a good one. Or no, you know what? And I actually have to. Okay, we're gonna make history again. And on the Sofa 50, I'm giving Stool credit for something. I've started using shit gibbon a lot.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
It is. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite insults.
It's fun
and
to
I
say.
looked it up. And literally, shit gibbon was literally coined to describe Donald Trump, which makes it that much better. Because
more of a shit orangutan.
I fell in love with the word, and I've started using it. I mean, you remember my old favorite word though when I worked at Quality Inn. I used to call everybody a fucking babesia.
Yeah.
Those were the days. I don't miss it.
Anyway, I'm going to give you guys a headphone warning because we're going to move on now to if I can get the words out, we're going to move on to ridiculous Republicans.
Yes, my favorite part.
That's redundant.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the balloon.
The music was my idea.
I love the balloon.
You know what, Artie? Why don't you go breathe the helium in then? So, what shall we start with? Because I put some prime shit up in here. Okay, so last week or so, we were discussing how Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, was filing to hold Trump in contempt for failing to comply with a subpoena for his business documents. Well, that request has been granted, and according to the order, this motherfucker's going to be fined $10,000 a day every day he holds out. But that's not the end of the story, unfortunately.
Of course not.
Which we'll get to.
Well, the beginning of the end of the story is that he never pays his bills anyway. And
we all knew that. And we knew that before he was ever installed by the Russians.
And he's been having these rallies for some reason and collecting all kinds of fucking cash from
Matthew,
donors.
don't start.
Weird how that happens.
Did you
hang on a second. I need to yell at my boyfriend for a minute. Matt, they found evidence that there was Russian interference in the election.
Evidence.
They've been doing it every
Get some.
Anyway, so
I wanted to say when we were talking about voter ID laws, I just wanted to mention that the first election after Indiana passed our state voter ID law, there was exactly one person arrested for election fraud, and it was the attorney fucking general who voted with his ID in the wrong fucking district.
Oop, and I oop.
And it wasn't just like he accidentally voted there. He was registered in the correct district, but his vote meant more in the one that he voted in. Both of those things were illegal. Used his ID, voted legally at the time. Fuck your voter ID saving anybody from anything. Fuck off. It's bullshit.
And it's funny, all the instances that, the fucking teabaggers talk so much shit about voter fraud. Have we ever noticed that in the very, very slim number of cases where it actually does happen, they've all been registered Republicans?
Interesting.
Yep.
Nice hat, Will.
As far as the New York subpoena goes.
Had to get American.
I'm going to go to the store.
This may actually have some real effect, because I believe that, if the New York judge passed this.
But there's more to the story. There's a part 2. He's appealing it.
Okay, but I mean, if he's given the fine and he doesn't pay it, I believe the court does have the power to start seizing his properties.
Yeah, but the question is how much, because there have been so many lies and obfuscations regarding how much his shit is really worth. The question is there really anything left to seize?
Yes, because O.J. Simpson...
oh my God, O.J. Simpson.
Still has mansions, and he had millions and millions and millions and millions taken away from him.
Yeah, he was supposed to give up like 2/3 of his shit, and somehow he managed to retain all of his physical assets.
He did, but see, here's the thing. He had way more money. He had more money than the Pope. So he gave up all of his money, but he still had physical property. That's why he can maintain this golf lifestyle. And Trump is like that. There's people in my family like that, where they're all just they're all just paperwork. They're rich, but they have like $20 in their bank account, but they own a ton of property.
Yeah.
I wonder how many country clubs were afraid to deny him membership because he's black, rather than because he's probably a double murderer and a felon.
Probably.
Yeah.
And a felon.
Well, here on the West Coast,
he did it, Artie. He did it
before 1994. He was like, I think people forget, like, OJ did whatever OJ wanted. OJ was like
OJ talked to him. He was the Deion Sanders of his time. He talked about OJ as in the third person.
He was
Who's Deion Sanders?
Oh my God.
You know what's so sad? I watched Deion Sanders' entire career.
Who the fuck is Deion Sanders?
I apologize for anybody that's not in the United States for the sports reference, but he's a pretty famous fucking former football player, American football.
I didn't hear about O.J. Simpson until the movies.
Oh yeah, well that's the only thing he did before that was football. So
he played for the Buffalo Bills, one of the most pathetic teams in the NFL. Let's go Jets!
He was
Holy
NBC.
Christ. Really?
He was NBC.
Yes, I'm a Jets fan. You know what, Matt?
And the Bills are pathetic. Holy shit.
In the
That's what
80s,
the top thing out of my mouth these days is, you know what, Matt?
in the 80s and the 90s, O.J. Simpson was the voice of NBC football.
That's overstating it a little bit, but
he was
he was certainly a draw when he was on the air.
I actually I probably already showed you the pictures. We probably already had this conversation. I grew up around him, so I'm biased. Like, and that's how I know OJ had more money than the Pope. And that's why no matter what they do to Donald Trump, he's still gonna come out on top.
Okay, but Will, since you're biased, I have to ask: do you think OJ did it?
Of course he did it.
I also have a question. Do you really believe that Donald Trump's a billionaire?
No, but I know. But listen, I don't think he is. But listen, I know. Like, if you have in America,
Matt, they found that most of his paperwork was a lie.
If you have property, people treat you different. If you own property, you get different tax breaks. It's a whole different category. If you own, and if there's one thing that he does, he owns a bunch of subsidiaries.
Mark Cuban, an American billionaire with ties to a bunch of media. He started by buying satellite time while he was living in Chicago. He was a graduate of Indiana University, which is out of his television range, and nobody was carrying Indiana basketball on cable. So he started a business by buying satellite time just so he could watch IU basketball games.
That's awesome.
Lovely.
And then he became a billionaire because that was a good idea, and it was cheap to buy satellite time compared to what you could charge people for the privilege. And so that's why he became a thing. But at any rate, one of my favorite things that anybody's ever said about anybody ever was that Mark Cuban
Freddie,
said,
what is that on your head? Now that I have a better view, is that a pair of underwear?
it's a hat.
Oh, that brings me back. I might make one. Oh, that's awesome.
It's a Colts hat, but I love it.
So the part 2 to the story is that he's, of course, appealed the contempt order. Oh, my God. Oh, wait, that's the play button. I thought that was his collar. And a $10,000 daily fine. Because, of course, he appealed it.
Well, his lawyers would appeal it even if they don't think they're going to win, just because it's a way they can stall turning over the records.
His lawyers will.
And it says right here, since he's appealing the ruling, he might not have to make payments on the fine until it is resolved. But that shit will pile the fuck up if and when the appeal is unsuccessful.
Yeah, with interest.
The sad thing is, just like O.J. Simpson in America, if you have money, there's a different. You're set to a different law.
Apparently, racism is defined differently if you're that rich.
We say that in California all the time. Like once you reach a certain amount of money, it's not about race. You know what? I'm not even saying this to be nice or mean or anything. When I get pulled over by the cops, the first thing they say to me is,
"Oh God, man!"
They get an echo.
They don't. When you make so much money, they don't care about race. All they care about is
how's that?
The first thing they say is,
no. They're always shocked of what neighborhood I live in. They're like, man, I wish I could live in your neighborhood. I always get that, but it's kind of a jab. Like, how do you live? Like, how can you afford to live in that neighborhood? Even recently, that's what the cop said. He's like, oh wow, you have more money than people out here, and I was going towards the beach.
All of my interactions with cops when I was living in Southern California were good. And I've told you the story about the thing that happened in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops came to my door that morning, and even that was pleasant, literally pleasant. My car broke down on the 465 at 5:15 on a bridge. And the cop shows up, and he's like, first thing, don't stand in front of your car, stand behind it, because chances are somebody's going to hit your car.
Oh my God. Artie, are you okay? Like, I'm starting to get worried.
Oh my God. No, well, maybe you didn't hear about the rest of what happened while I lived out there, because that was literally nothing.
So here we go. I love that they use this term because it's accurate as fuck. Donald Trump, malignant narcissist, blames Ukrainian casualties on rigged U.S. election. Because of course he is.
He has to involve himself in this as a true narcissist.
I can't believe he didn't blame it on Biden's kid.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Something on that laptop made Putin go in to kill the Nazis in Ukraine.
The day's not over yet.
And the fact that Piers Morgan is involved in this just makes it even more relevant because we hate Piers Morgan over here.
Yeah, and more often than not, he's the one that's fucking voice of reason, which is really fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Well, when you're dealing with Donald Trump, like it doesn't take much. See,
True,
I can't say it without laughing. I can't say it without laughing because Donald Trump is such a piece of garbage.
No, he's one of the worst human beings.
I was going to say, before Trump came along, Piers Morgan actually had a level of respect.
I have been aware
also before Prince Harry married Meghan Markle.
Well, people, you know what's so funny? If you ever want to find out who's truly racist, just take a person of color and put them in the same room or a chat or something. And the person of color doesn't even have to say anything. The racist person all of a sudden is like, you know, in a very narcissistic way, like, why do you exist? Let me challenge you in every single thing.
For real though, where's the lie?
My feelings are hurt, you know, like you hurt my feelings.
It's just so in an interview that aired on Monday, Trump's British pal Piers Morgan asked the ex-Russian puppet. When you see the scenes, Mr. Former Russian puppet, of maternity hospitals being bombed, when you see refugees being attacked as they flee, grandmothers, children, babies, you see the decimation of previously prosperous cities living in a thriving new democracy. When you watch what's happening, do you agree with my assessment that Vladimir Putin is now an evil genocidal monster? So Trump says, yeah, but I also, and Morgan can't even conceal his surprise. Oh, you do? He said, who wouldn't? What's happening is horrible. Calls it such a stupid war.
Did he realize that he said Putin?
Yeah. But of course he couldn't help himself. He said, I'll tell you what I really think. I said, isn't it a shame? All those people are dead all because of a rigged election. Because if our election wasn't rigged, you would have had nobody dead. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me? Trump probably would have deployed U.S. forces to help Putin.
Absolutely.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Almost certainly we would have provided aid to Russia.
I'm going to watch my mouth now.
Hey,
yeah, that's part of the thing I hate most about. Well, that's the most fucking shocking to me. I grew up in I'm an 80s kid. I was a little kid in the 70s, but I came to maturity in the 80s and early 90s, and the idea that there is a Republican Party in the United States that is supporting a dictator in Russia while that guy is attacking a sovereign European fucking country full of white people is fucking shocking to me.
And as someone who's 10 years younger, the Reds are literally under their effing beds.
Yeah, and while they are supporting a Russian dictator, they are complaining about the right being communist and socialist, or the left being communist and socialist.
Seriously, it makes no goddamn sense. Like, how are you going to call the fucking Democrats every name in the fucking book? Well, meanwhile, you're supporting fucking Russia.
Even we're talking about the United States right now. I'm gonna jump off of this tree over here.
This is why.
Go ahead.
This is why calling out the lies doesn't matter, because these people who make up the core of the Republican support, they don't care if what they said completely contradicts the previous sentence.
Regardless of whether there's evidence that they did it, and then they deny they said it, regardless of video or audio evidence.
They're the kind of people that you can gaslight them about something that they thought that they were celebrating about who you are, but you can tell them that, no, you said I was a piece of shit the whole time I was doing that, and I'm just glad that you're with me now. And they'll, I don't remember it that way, but it must have happened that way because I'm an idiot.
Right. And speaking of I don't remember, it's not on the sofa until MTG opens her fucking trap.
Let me just cue that up.
Yeah, please. I need to talk shit about that one.
My treasonous B. Something with a B.
No, it's a G. It's a G, Artie. It's a G.
My treasonous
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Treason Green. I think
she doesn't recall advocating for martial law. There are text message screenshots.
I know what I wanted to say about her. Just before, I'm not one to get buried into the way that a person looks, but can I just say that she didn't need to be a bodybuilder in order to look mannish?
I didn't even know. Wait, she was a bodybuilder?
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's buff.
So she was so busy building her body that that's how her brain eroded. That makes sense now.
She made her money in fitness centers. She's not just a bodybuilder. It's one of the ways that stupid pretty people can get rich in this country is to do something like that and have a good investor behind you, which I assume is her husband. But
who owned property.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's her husband because who the fuck knows what her husband looks like?
The fact that someone's married to her makes me think that somebody fucks her, which makes me sick.
No, but he's really smart though. If you think about it, he's a lot more intelligent than we think because he's hiding and we don't know what he looks like.
That's what I'm saying. He's the smart one, and I'm pretty sure he's gay.
Well, you'd have
that would actually explain a lot.
Because she's mannish as fuck and they don't have any kids.
Oh, thank God she hasn't reproduced. That just took a weight off my mind.
Thank God she took so many steroids that she's got balls instead of uterus.
No, there's an actual
her
thing
clit
that happens.
probably looks like the head of a dick. Apparently that can happen. If you take anabolic steroids, your clitoris can swell so much it looks like a penis head.
Okay, so there's a real
too.
No, but there's a real thing. If you look back at like Jackie Joyner Kersee and some of the Olympians from the early 90s, they were on roids. So what happens when a woman takes steroids is that her jaw gets bigger. And if you look at pictures of Jackie Joyner Kersee, like there was this guy named Marcellus Wiley. He exposed.
I thought you were going to say Marcellus Wallace.
God,
no.
Describe what Marcellus Wiley looks like.
The roid world of the early Olympians, and it was gross because they were all on steroids, all of them. It was gross.
I realize this is going to sound racist as fuck, but did you happen to see that the new amateur record for the 100 meters that beat her record? It's not like a world record, but the one that a white girl just ran faster than Joyner Kersee did.
I think that's awesome. Jackie Joyner Kersee was on more drugs than the junkie.
I don't even know who this person is.
She was on more drugs than the junkie that you walk past.
Oh, and the fingernails freaked me out, but she was a pretty person.
No, she was an amazing person, but I have no sympathy. I come from the era of cheaters. I have no sympathy for baseball players, for sports stars. Like, you guys were paid millions and you cheated. What about all the people who didn't cheat?
Like the Patriots.
And worked their arse off.
The Patriots, the fucking cheaters.
As I'm wearing a Colts hat, I can definitely appreciate the Jets' perspective on the cheating.
I have no sympathy for people.
Honestly, my perspective on the Patriots being a bunch of cheating little pussies and Tom Brady being a fucking crybaby, that has nothing to do with me being a Jets fan. That has everything to do with the fact that the Patriots are a bunch of dirty fucking cheaters and Tom Brady's a fucking crybaby. I don't care that he's a Buccaneer now; he's still a bitch.
I think sports
Am I wrong? Go ahead. Someone try to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, sports are, as a sports fan, sports is amazing. But if I think it's rigged, I wouldn't watch it. So when I found out that like the Houston Astros cheated when they played the Dodgers, it kind of soured the entire, like it was a big
But at
deal.
least that's not rigged.
I agree.
It's not like the Chicago.
At least
White
you don't have to worry in fucking baseball that the ball won't be properly inflated.
In my estimation, and God, this is really U.S. centric. This is a baseball story from 1906, I think. It was the Chicago Black Sox. The Chicago White Sox made it to the World Series, and the Mafia had paid off 8 guys to throw the series. The White Sox lost. The Mafia made a fortune, and somebody narked on the players. And one of the guys that got caught up in it was Shoeless Joe Jackson. But Shoeless Joe Jackson's stats for that World Series would have gotten him into the Hall of Fame just as the greatest.
There's the turtle. There's Moscow Mitch.
And
so apparently
he ended up being banned from the Hall of Fame just like everybody else because he took the money, but he took the money but didn't take the fall. He's a fucking hero in this country, and he's banned from baseball.
So Mitch McConnell apparently thought that January 6th would destroy the orange shit gibbon.
I think he was hoping that.
But Americans are gullible as hell.
So
3 people, I think, actually hoped for that.
So in the immediate aftermath of the riot, McConnell thought he had finally gotten his wish that Trump would be cut from the party. And, you know, he told the New York Times that night, I feel exhilarated by the fact that this fellow finally totally discredited himself, put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. Couldn't have happened at a better time. So that snap judgment seemed to make sense at the time. And after all, Trump had been shooting his mouth off at the Stop the Steal rally, told the crowd, you're not going to have a Republican Party if you don't get tougher. urged them to march to the Capitol building. And once it became clear that this had turned into a violent riot, I remember like watching this as it went on. I had just gotten done pulling a double the day this happened, and I remember me and my daughter's grandmother were texting each other back and forth while this was going on. It's like, why doesn't he call off his fucking ankle biters? Why is he not letting the National Guard get deployed? Like, why is he not responding? Why is it being allowed to continue? And he waited hours. And it looked for all the world like a fundamentally disqualifying series of acts undertaken by the shit gibbon. And, McConnell seemed to believe, and, I can't blame the man for having hope. I'm sorry, the turtle. And he seemed to think, finally this would be the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, how wrong was he? So.
Yeah, and he spent pretty much every month since about February of last year, trying to save his ass within the party, because he realized that while he doesn't have to show deference, he can't show opposition.
So basically, it was a half-assed attempt at neutrality, but not really.
It wasn't neutrality. He was actually he had the party in mind.
Well, he had it in
mind. And I realized when I say he had the party in mind that there's a Nazi reference to be made.
I mean, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Quite a few.
Yeah, it's just a subtle way as God bless America. I can't believe that there has been nobody of any significant influence that has yet been even arrested, let alone imprisoned.
I'm not that shocked anymore.
But we have video of them telling people, go to the Capitol.
Right.
Go to the Capitol. Like I said, there's us and them.
We put one of those motherfuckers in a costume as part of a fucking primetime show.
If you ever get bored and you're feeling sadistic, watch Trump Jr.'s rant that day.
Not sadistic.
Thank you, Mo. I don't feel like brutally murdering my brain cells. And the term you would be looking for in that case would be masochism. I would know.
He goes off in the weeds. He goes off in the weeds, and he goes on this really transphobic rant.
He's such a sweaty cokehead.
He is, and that's the one thing that pisses me off. Obvious cokehead is obvious.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
The same thing was true for his dad.
I can't watch that shit.
Years ago.
No, well, he's on Adderall. Like he's graduated to pills that are kind of
right.
Like
yeah, no,
like, he's just shaky.
Like, the pill that's one step away, that one chemical component away from being meth.
I can't watch Junior because he's like, like, bro, take a effing breath, take a seat, get some water. Like,
you could fucking dress him up in Jersey Shore clothes and put him in one of the clubs and he'd fit right in.
I can't watch him because he is.
I can't watch any of them. I get fucking war flashbacks to my fucking dad.
The woman in the red dress that was crazy at the convention.
Oh, his girlfriend?
No.
The one that looks like Rita Repulsa?
Not his wife. It was.
He's not with his wife anymore.
Well, this was the convention, which was.
The best is yet to come.
3 years ago.
That one.
Is it? The best is yet to come.
Maybe that is who I'm thinking of. But yeah, she wasn't doing less coke than him.
Kimberly.
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure there was at least one bullet in her bra.
Oh my.
They're the kind of people that wear spoon bracelets instead of spoon necklaces, like they were cool in the 80s. Remember when people would wear little Coke spoons on their, like a pendant?
Oh God! Actually, I saw something on Facebook. So people were looking to identify certain objects, and I gotta do. It was a picture of a little jar with a little shovel spoon attached to it. Yep. It was very intricately done, and Matt and I were trying to decide if it was for Coke or opium.
It's Coke.
You
smoke opium. Opium is like cigarette tar. It's
You can take a
although
powder.
it tastes amazing and the buzz. Oh my god, the buzz.
I've never done opium. I've never done opium. I've never done coke. There's only a few drugs I've done, and they were all downers.
Opium tastes like, for you old people, you remember what fruit gum used to taste like when it was good?
You old people,
That's,
you know, you're
that's
talking
what
to yourself there, Artie.
That's what cooking opium tastes like. Smoking opium tastes like fucking eating fruit gum.
There was
Okay, that was probably not something you want to tell me. No, I'm not gonna go run off and try opium. I like having a
A little
job.
bit of trivia. Back in the 70s, to stir the coffee, McDonald's used to have these little tiny spoons that they did, you know, just because they were cute. In the 80s, they got rid of those because they realized that had become a standardized measurement for Coke.
Yeah, they put the McDonald's, they stamped the McDonald's logo on the end of the stir sticks.
Yeah.
To keep people from using them for measuring Coke.
Yeah, it's a tutor and not not UK royalty.
Anyways, we're coming up to 2 hours, so I'm gonna wrap things up.
Then we can't call them 2-hour specials anymore.
I'm gonna go to the grocery store. It's actually part of my Thursday tradition. I go to the grocery store, I go to a greasy spoon, and then by the time I get home, it's like an hour before.
Can I ask a favor and have you have you give us a we'll cut him off at the pass? Okay.
No.
No, but I'll give you the worst John Wayne impression ever.
Okay.
I won't shoot you, but old Stumpy will. What movie is that from?
That was incredible.
I don't know.
Syndicate Elder.
With the better line from the end of the movie where he says, "I won't shoot you." The hell I won't.
That's when you get threatened with Walter Brennan, you know you're about to get shot.
Who's Walter Brennan?
That's how motherfuckers die.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Walter Brennan?
A legend that my father used to say that man was born old. And so I say that about people. I say, "Oh, he was born old."
I hear that about Telly Savalas. The same shit.
My all-time favorite John Wayne scene was at the end of the movie. He goes into the saloon. He grabs the dancing girl off the stage, throws her over her shoulder, and he's walking out. And this old biddy on the sidewalk just gasps and goes, "Well, I never." And he just looks her dead in the eye and says, "No, ma'am, don't reckon you ever have."
The man was a lot of things, but he didn't have a sense of humor.
And on that bombshell, we're gonna end the stream. And thanks to to Siamese, Stool, Purple, Brain Sample, and Will for joining me. And thanks to everyone who's been in the side chat. And
why are we thanking Stool? I thought we went over this. We don't thank the blight on humanity for existing. We shun him.
If you want to become a patron of this channel, you can, and your name will be your name will be added to Greg's on the ticker thing.
Yeah, Greg's lonely down there.
And there's
you know what, Stool? You're lonely everywhere.
And do tune in next week at the same time, 10 p.m. And I'll say good night for now.
Happy Ed Balls Day, everybody.
Bye, Felicia's.
Bye.
Bye all.
Why does Stool look like Howard Hessman?